Welcome back to Young Blossom. My name is Jonah. I have some butter toffee coffee today in my lens mug, so you know it's a good time. I've been living in Madison, Wisconsin for about 2 weeks now, officially, and it's been a really great time, and I'm really enjoying adjusting to city life, and I'm just really happy with my decision to move here. One of the biggest things that I've noticed in the past 2 weeks of living here is just how different it is to exist as a queer person in a city versus in a very small town. Prior to living in Madison, I lived in a very small rural farm town, and the population was like 6,000, so everybody knew everybody's business all the time, and everybody knew everybody. So that's very different than the city life where nobody really knows who I am. One of the most difficult things that I've dealt with since coming out as queer like a few years ago is just the fact that I was living in a small town and everybody knew that I was queer. It was like this topic of conversation and just this like gossip that everybody wanted to talk about. So everybody knew I was trans, and I really didn't get a say in who knew and who didn't know, and then people who would meet me, they'd be like, oh yeah, you're the trans one, and I was just like my town's token trans person, and it was really uncomfortable, and I couldn't get away from that. It was a really difficult environment to be in where everybody knew, because I had like no say in who knew and who didn't know, and that just made me feel very unsafe a lot of the times, because especially in small towns, people are very transphobic and gross, and just in general, they make you feel very unsafe. So moving to a new city, it was definitely a fresh start for me. I was starting at ground zero with every single new person that I met. Whether that was like coworkers or just other people that I've encountered since moving here. Nobody knows my backstory and nobody knows really anything about me, and that's like something that's really cool but also like very strange because I'm not used to that at all. And I think that as queer people you should have the decision to tell who you want to tell, and it's not only like a matter of personal preference but also it's sometimes just a matter of safety. Like you don't always want to tell every single person that you meet that you're queer, and that's your decision as a queer person. And I felt like I was robbed of that decision when I lived in a small town because everybody just knew off the bat and felt it was their God-given right to tell other people. So it's been really interesting moving to a new city where nobody knows that I'm queer and nobody knows that I'm trans, and people just like don't know my backstory, and I can choose to tell that to people or to keep it to myself. And that's something I haven't previously had experience with. And like I previously said, I'm realizing more and more that the attitude people have towards queer people here is much different than small towns. Like people here are way more open-minded and more accepting of people who may be different from them, not just in the sense of being queer, but really any marginalized community. Like people here are way more accepting of people who are different than them, and that's something that I'm just like not used to. Like on the odd chance that somebody in my hometown didn't know that I was trans and didn't know that I was queer, like I didn't really always feel safe telling those people. I just kind of kept it to myself because you really don't know how people are going to react in a small town. Even though nobody really knows that I'm trans here, like I feel safe telling people that I'm trans. I haven't told my workplace, like I haven't told any of my coworkers, like basically the only people here that know that I'm trans are my roommates, and that's just something that's like so refreshing and like weird. I just like don't know what to do with like this new situation. It's different and I'm not used to it. It's just kind of been really nice to be able to have a choice in who knows and who doesn't know, because I didn't have this choice before. I'm not used to having a choice. And honestly, if people don't know off the bat that I'm trans, like they'll probably know to some extent that I'm queer, because just being socialized as female for most of my life, a lot of my mannerisms and the things that I do are seen as very feminine, and femininity is like often conflated with like being queer. Chase Ross talks about this a lot, how like a lot of people, if they don't even know that he's trans, they'll assume that he's gay just because of the way that he acts, and I feel like that's the case for me too. I was recently getting my hair cut at a new place that I decided to go to since moving here, and the person who was cutting my hair was like, well, since you're 19 and you're giving off really good vibes, I just wanted to recommend this club to you that's downtown. They definitely recommended that I go to a gay club, and I was like, I'm giving off good vibes, which translates to me as queer vibes, which I agree are good vibes, but it was just funny to me that I had never met this person in my life, and they're just cutting my hair, and then they're like, yeah, like, you should go check out this gay bar downtown, like, it's like super accepting and everybody there just wants to have a good time. I have literally not mentioned anything about being queer, but you are recommending a gay bar to me, so that's pretty funny. And going back to the whole topic of people being more accepting of queer people here, I wanted to share something from work the other day. I mentioned this in my last video, but I got hired as a barista, and I've been like training this past week, and this past week a customer came through the line and she was wearing this pin on her coat, and it was a trans pride flag, and it said, "I stand with you," and I literally almost broke out crying. It really took me by surprise because I'm not used to that. I'm not used to people like even knowing what the word trans is. That was just something that was like so humbling and just like so reaffirming of this decision to move to Madison. Like, it made me feel so much better, and like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. It just felt so good. I just feel very safe existing as a queer person here, and I definitely feel safe to like tell people if I want to, because people here are way more accepting. It just makes me really excited and really happy that I chose to move here. And before I finish this video, I did want to talk about the topic quick that kind of ties into this video, but it's just on the concept of passing privilege. I hate the concept of passing. I hate that trans people feel like they have to look cis to be able to exist in society peacefully, but sadly that is the reality that we live in right now. I am very fortunate to have passing privilege, and I know that not everybody has passing privilege, so I wanted to take a minute to acknowledge my privilege, because I know that this whole video, like, somebody could just be like rolling their eyes, like, really, this kid is complaining about how weird it is to like have passing privilege and like be able to be stealth. So I just wanted to touch on that because I think it's important that if you have privilege that you recognize it. I've really enjoyed living in Madison for the past couple of weeks, and this just feels like the right decision. I'm really happy with my choice in moving here, and I think it's going to be really good for me and my social life and my mental health and everything like that. I hope you are all doing very well and taking care of yourselves. You deserve the best. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next video. Peace and love.